Arsenal have hit 4 against Atletico Madrid to make it 3 out of 3 in the Champions League group stages. We're going to look back at the game, how we lined up, and all the key events from a great evening at the Emirates. We'll also take a quick look at the other Champions League results for the British clubs. We're then going to preview the game at the weekend as Crystal Palace come to the Emirates. Crystal Palace have been a very well organised and difficult team to beat under Oliver Glasner. So what will Arsenal have to do to beat them? Finally, the Predictor game is back as we look back at last week's results and look ahead to this week's games. Joining me to discuss all of these topics is the excellent Wayne from the Can You Believe It podcast and the LatteFirm. Lots to get through on episode 24 of Red Lines and Half Spaces. Welcome to episode 24 of Red Lines Half Spaces. The good times just keep rolling on. Arsenal winning 4-0 at the Emirates in the Champions League. Keep still top of the Premier League, although we haven't played yet since our last preview, which was against Fulham. But it's a good time to be an Arsenal fan. And here's another person who's going to keep us going. It's actually not Joe. Joe is MIA at the moment. What has happened here? The shambles that Joe has put upon me. But we have got a very capable co-host tonight. It is my excellent fellow panelist from the LatteFirm. It is Wayne. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm good. I hope Joe's doing okay. I'm sure he's MIA because of the newborn.
It is the newborn. It is the newborn. So yes, we all well know the parental duty. So look, if you don't have kids, you don't understand. But once you have kids, you're like, yep, nodding your head and you understand. Wayne is... Yeah. Myself and Wayne, we have kids. We understand completely. So, Joe, we love you. We hope you're back for the next one. Enjoy your family time. But Wayne, how you been, my friend?
Yeah, all good. Just finished off the process of moving house. It was a little bit more stressful, as I was talking to you offline about, but we're nearly there. We've got the wardrobe being built tomorrow. We've got the sofas coming next week, Thursday. And yeah, it's all good. I'm just looking forward to having my office space, if you want to call it that, spare room. I want to have my Arsenal frames up. I want to have my Arsenal.
That's what I was going to ask.
In the background. I want to have my room, but the big thing is I've got my PlayStation set up, so I've got somewhere to run away.
The important things are. But look, I was going to ask that. When are you going to put the Arsenal merch? Do you know what? I feel so gutted. When we built my office, my wife was like, "Oh, you need cupboard space." I was like, yeah, I do need cupboard space. And then she put a freaking great big cupboard that you see behind me, and I have no room to put Arsenal merch. I was thinking like I maybe should put hang some shirts as a background ornament. So but
I thankfully my partner Chloe, she came up with the brilliant idea of just getting like the metal like clothes rack. So not a wardrobe, not wardrobe space. I've got 2 metal clothes racks which will be filled with shirts, merch, and then to the side of the wall. The other side of the wall will be left spare for the frames. So hopefully when everything's all set up, you'll get a decent look at it next time I'm on camera somewhere. Hopefully within the next month to 6 weeks.
I'll be very jealous because I can't put anything up. This cupboard does not allow it. Wayne, it is a good time to be an Arsenal fan, isn't it? Really is. I mean, again, look, Wayne is the excellent co-host with our friend Met of the Can You Believe It podcast, and I actually started listening today. I apologise. Going to get through it. I love listening to it on my drive. I love listening to you and Met as I drive along.
Thank you.
But again, it's good feelings, isn't it? It's good vibes. Just I want to listen to the content and all that. How are you feeling as an Arsenal fan at the moment?
Yeah, everyone should be buzzing at the minute. There's nothing really to complain about, but in typical Arsenal fashion, some of our social media fans do find something to complain about, whether it's Ranieri not getting starts or Gyökeres playing minutes. Anyone just seems to be upset about something. But no, quietly we've gone about our business. I can't believe we've reached a stage where we're 9 unbeaten. When did that happen?
9 unbeaten with the schedule that we had. When we looked at it, we were like, this is probably one of the hardest any team's had to endure at the start of a Premier League. And as you said, we've won 9 of it. not really. I would say exerting ourselves overly in terms of we're not at our peak, are we? Either, Wayne. We're comfortable, but there's levels to us, isn't there, Wayne? We can all see it. As an Arsenal fan, you can see there's still levels to go up, isn't there?
Yeah, for sure. And as an Arsenal fan, it's nice to know that not only have we got levels up, but it's nice to know that we've got a load of different ways now to attack. We've got a load of different ways now to create chances. I know that rival fans are very fixated on the set piece situation, and we're just really, really good at them. But that's not the only thing we're good at anymore. Whereas at times last season and the season before, it felt like if we didn't get a set piece, we wasn't going to score. I don't really feel that this season. It feels as though, yes, a set piece might be our most likely chance to score. But if we don't score from a set piece, I still feel as though we're good enough to score from somewhere else. And the biggest thing for me is, look, I think I've said for the past 2 seasons, I think we've got the best defense in Europe. We're just going to prove it right now. The fact that we've only conceded 3 goals across all competitions so far this season is mental, absolutely mental. And Arsenal fans, don't want to burst your bubble now. I would love to jump on the hype train to say that we're going to break that Chelsea record of 15 goals. But I think much like our Invincibles, that one's going to stand forever. But yeah, 3 goals across all competitions conceded is just absolutely nuts.
It's also, and we're going to touch upon this when we talk about the Atletico game, the shots on target stat is remarkable, isn't it? Considering that in the past, we've had these very ebb and flow games where we've always, given up chances. We're not giving up chances even, are we? We're very rarely giving up shots on target. It's crazy how hard this defense works. We take it for granted now because we've had this for a long time. We've had a good defense. But it seems to have stepped up again, hasn't it, Wayne, this season in terms of we are not going to be beaten. We are going to, we are going to outmuscle you, out tackle you. You're going to have to work super hard. The 2 goals that have been scored against us are from a Dominic Szoboszlai absolute worldie and a giant mistake from Gabriel in letting Erling Haaland through, which Erling Haaland this season is just it's like Arnie from the Terminator. He just doesn't get it. It's inevitable, isn't it?
Yeah, and another one from the corner at the Newcastle game.
That
Gabriel falling
again.
over when he doesn't really need to. If he stands
Yeah.
up and jumps, he probably gets a deflection on it. He probably gets something on it, even though it's a brilliant ball into the box. But no, you're right. It's not only the defense has stepped up, everyone works so hard.
Yeah.
Like the defense are brilliant. Gabriel and Saliba are fantastic on the cover. We know Timber is probably one of the best fullbacks in Europe. In his position, whoever we play at left back seems to be excelling. But the hard work from Declan Rice, Subamendi shielding that midfield has been super impressive. I think he's settled this team in a way that I don't think a lot of Arsenal fans thought he would so quickly. I think everyone knew his quality, but the way he's come in and been physical for such a diminutive kind of small looking player has been really, really, really superb. And obviously the guys at the front, like Gyökeres has not been scoring. Thankfully, it's been a different change this time around in this game against Atletico, but he's been working so hard from the front. And it's been really, really good to see that work ethic. And I do have to say that it's probably enough to sack Arteta that we had a shot on target from Atletico.
Do you know
Those
what
are not the standards.
It is really not the standard. When they had that shot on target, I was like, that's it. Sack him. Let him go.
Yeah, it's over.
It's over. But Wayne, let's go into the game. 4-0 at the Emirates. Did you go to the game? Did you go to?
No, I was busy sorting home stuff. I was kind of like on my way, and then I was like, no, I kind of have to sort this out.
I couldn't make it either. I was a bit under the weather. But how did you feel going into the game beforehand? We'll go into the nuts and bolts of the game, but how did you feel going into them? Because look, we previewed this, and both me and Joe got this completely wrong. I can't remember what you guys did, but I thought, look, it's Atletico Madrid. They can play that physical game. It's the haram ball of haram ball, or I called it. It was like Arteta's going to play it haram. Simeone's going to play it haram. We're going to just cancel each other out. Don't watch this game because it's going to be ugly unless you're an Arsenal fan. How did you view this one?
I didn't think it was going to be that bad because Atletico have kind of changed their style in recent years, like over the last 18 months or so. They do attack a lot more, and the quality of one player in particular, in Julian Alvarez, is just enough to kind of scare you alone. But no, I did think it was going to be a lot tighter than that. I didn't think we would go on to win 4-0. I did think we would win, but I thought it was going to be like a cagey sort of 2-1, 1-0, something like that. But watching the game, I was so impressed by our performance. The first half, we probably should have had at least a goal, maybe not, maybe two. I know that Raya had his little slip up, and that's like his first brain fart moment of the season. But we can allow him it because he didn't. Nothing came of it. But I'm sure Arteta will be all over him to not do that again. But no, I was just impressed by the way that we played. Apart from that opening sort of 10, 15 minutes in the second half, I think we controlled the game really well. I think we had a very good game plan for what Atletico was going to do, and we threatened them consistently. And yeah, I didn't. Yeah, I have to admit, I didn't expect it to be 4-0. I thought it was going to be one of those cagey affairs at the Emirates. But we just have the quality now to kind of do this to teams. We've done it against Real Madrid last season, and now we've done it against Atletico. And we seem to have something over the Spanish side at the minute.
It was really interesting, wasn't it, Wayne, that for the first time in a long time against one of the big teams, it didn't feel like we were the underdog or we were I know obviously last year against Madrid we had a fabulous performance, but we were considered the underdog in the game. Against Atletico, we it was going to be we thought it would be an even game. But the physicality and the energy we put into our game, Atletico are known for it. Simeone has built his game upon being physical and being athletic and competing for every ball. But I just thought we had a different level. I don't think we went to our top level even. I don't think we were there, particularly. I thought we had a good game, but were we at our flying best? Not really. I think we still had a gear to step up in. But let's look at the lineups, and then we're going to talk a few more about the incidents. Goalkeeper David Raya in goal. I don't think there was any debate there. That's not going to change. Back four, there was a change. So William Saliba, Gabriel Magalhaes, your two centre backs. You're in Timber, your right back. Miles Lewis Skelly coming in at left back. Wayne, how did you view that one? Because Ricardo Calafiori has been the first choice left back. And obviously, we know Miles Lewis Skelly's quality, and it's been frustrating I can imagine it's been frustrating for him because Calafiori's been in excellent form, bar one
Yeah.
game, I think. How did you view this change? Was it a needed change, or was it kind of tactical? What did you view this change as?
I don't know. I wouldn't say it was a needed change because Calafiori's been playing really well, and I actually think we've managed his minutes pretty well so far this season. Um, But I also don't think it was well, actually, no, to be fair, it was a tactical one, and you saw why with the assist that Marzio Skelly had. He has that a brilliant ability to dribble through the park, to take players on and defend solidly. And I think he's actually been unlucky, mostly because I don't think any Arsenal fan would have expected Calafiori to stay this fit at the start of the season, which is credit to him and credit to our medical staff. But I also think that everyone watching Miles Skelly's performances so far this season would say he deserves more appearances. He deserves more minutes. When he's come in, he's played quite well. He's not let us down. And he made last season he made that left back position his own. But yeah, this performance was just something else because, like you say, he's come in a little bit out of the cold, not played as much as he probably would have liked. And to put in what I thought, I know that he didn't get the man of the match, but I thought he was the man of the match. I thought he was the best player on the pitch on the night. And to put in that level of performance against such a top side as Atletico, against players on that right hand side that are probably more threatening than the left hand side for that team, he defended so well, and everything he does on the ball is always sort of touch perfect. So yeah, I'm glad we saw the change because the big thing for me so far this season and the biggest change, you can talk about the tactics all you want, you can talk about the style of play all you want. Arteta is managing this squad so far, and I know it's only November, so far, or nearly November, sorry. He's managing the squad brilliantly. He's managing the
Yeah.
squad in a way that I don't think we've ever seen him do as an Arsenal manager, and I think that it's nice to go into a game and not necessarily know who is going to start. You might have an idea on your best 11, but your best 11 for Atletico is probably not your best 11 for Crystal Palace. And that best 11 for Crystal Palace is probably not the best 11 for Brighton in the Carabao Cup in midweek. So he is really managing this squad really, really well. And he's keeping everyone engaged, keeping everyone fit. And hopefully that continues for the rest of the season because we've seen our seasons kind of tail off, mostly because we're throwing the likes of Zinchenko, Rob Holding, Cedric Suarez in at the business end of the season, and they've not played football for 4 or 5 months, and that just is never going to work.
But do you also think, Wayne, just pulling on the thread slightly of Arteta's rotation, is it a trust issue as well? Because these players that he's bringing in are not that far off the first teamers that they're replacing. You know, Calafiori and Miles Lewis-Skelly, it's pretty much neck and neck in terms of quality. And is it the case that Arteta now feels, because I've always had that feeling, and I don't know if you've had it, that when Arteta rotates, he's not quite comfortable with that person coming in necessarily, that they're going to deliver the quality. You know, the Raheem Sterlings, etc., when they've come in. And now he feels maybe, look, the person coming in to replace him is not a drop off. It's pretty much the same quality, and I'm comfortable with that. That's why I'm happy to rotate. Mosquera comes in for William Saliba. Is it a drop off? No. Miles Lewis-Skelly, as you said, comes in for Ricardo Calafiori. Is that a drop off? No. Trossard comes in for Martinelli. Drop off? No. Kai Havertz when he's fit. Is it going to be a drop off? No. Madueke with Saka? It's not really that much of a drop off given what we've seen. Is it more now that he trusts the level of his squad now more than just obviously trying to keep players fit? Because he's done that in the past, but the quality's not been there, has it, Wayne?
I think it's a combination of the two. I think definitely he does trust these players more, but he's trusting them in scenarios that he wouldn't have trusted them in the past. And although players like Ranieri, for example, there's been times this season, obviously, Odegaard has come off in the first sort of 10, 15 minutes. In previous years, he wouldn't have brought Ranieri on
Mm.
and allowed him to play those minutes. So I don't think it's just a trust in what they're going to do on the pitch. I think it's like a trust in their ability, it's a trust in what they've shown in training. It's a trust that they can follow the instructions and the tactics down to the ground. But I think that he was scarred, much like all of us were from last season.
Yeah.
So even if he doesn't necessarily trust your ability, he trusts your body, because again, that's something that Arteta hasn't necessarily done in the past. We know that Ben White is probably struggling right now, coming back from coming back to full fitness, because he's been playing on one leg, it feels like, for nearly two full seasons, simply because Arteta didn't only trusted him. He didn't allow him to have that rest. He didn't allow him to take games off because he just didn't want to rely on anyone else. Whereas now he brings him off. He brings him on for Timber every sort of 20 minutes. Hopefully gets a couple of games here and there in this busy stretch, and it just allows us to keep everyone fresh, both in the legs and in the mind. But I think a lot of that has come from the scarring of last season, simply because we had so many injuries. And I think Arteta has taken on board that although all of the injuries were probably not down to overplaying and probably not down to rotating, I think a lot of them were. Like, I think Saka's injury, for example, was something that could have been avoided if you managed his minutes beforehand. I think probably the same for Kai Havertz. I know that he injured his hamstring while in Dubai, but you remember that December, sort of
Yeah.
before that, he was playing 90 minutes every single
That
day,
Wolves
it
game,
felt like,
that Wolves game at the end where he
where he
absolutely
shattered
showed, yeah.
himself and just laid on the floor. Like, he's just, yeah. I think there's moments like that that I think have stuck with Arteta, and whether it's a medical discussion and he's leaning on them and they're saying, look, you can't do that this year. But we've got the biggest squad, I think, in the Premier League in particular. We've got the deepest squad. So use them. That's what they're there for.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's move into the midfield. Eberechi Eze, Martin Zubimendi, Declan Rice. That seems to be the favoured midfield at the moment, which is actually very good for Eberechi Eze, because I think myself and Joe talked about this. This period where Martin Odegaard is out is, I feel, a bit of a crucial point for Eze, because it allows him to play in the creative fulcrum role. We know that when Arteta bought him, there was a thinking that he will play in the left winger role. But obviously he's getting his opportunity now as the creative fulcrum, if we call it that, within the side. Do you see this as the first choice midfield at the moment going forward? Because obviously there was thoughts, and you and Met talked about it on the Can You Believe It podcast, that if Mourinho had come in, would we have been that surprised? No, because again, he's had good form in the international break. But I like this midfield. I actually think, give it time, it's going to come good in terms of Zubimendi, Rice are top notch. As you said at the outset, Zubimendi has just settled in so quickly into the league and into this system. And I think it's benefited Declan Rice massively, because I think it's just allowed him to get forward and allowed him not to be worried about, I'm going to have a bad touch at deep level and I'm going to lose the ball, so near to the goal. He's much more freer, I think. But this midfield feels like the one that's going to be the most effective going forward. Would you say, Wayne, in most games?
I think it will be while the captain's out. I think the problem for me is I don't think for us Eze is a central player. I think I don't think it limits him because I think he's a really, really good footballer. I think he can play good anywhere, but I think he finds it maybe a little bit easier. I think he finds more space playing on our left hand side, and I think he's not the playmaker that Martin Odegaard is, and I think we need more playmaking from our midfield, especially when Declan Rice is there. And him and Zubimendi have done brilliantly this season. And Zubimendi in particular, picking up the ball from deep, progressing it. Both of them, Rice and Zubimendi, are progressing the ball at ways that I didn't think that they would do. Um, Especially Rice, he's doing a lot less dribbling. He's getting forward a lot less. He's saving his energy sort of for key moments of the season, I hope, and that's a real positive. But it means that a lot of the creative input and sort of dropping deep and picking up the ball is coming from Eze, and he's doing it well because, like I said, he's a world class player. But I'm just so intrigued by this idea of Eze on the left and Ranieri through the middle, because I think that the times that Ranieri has come off the bench to replace Odegaard in those injury games, I think he's played really, really well. And I think that for me, the balance of Eze on the left, Ranieri in the middle would be more beneficial to us as a creative team, or more threatening than, say, Eze through the middle and Martinelli from the left if he's starting, or Trossard from the left. We saw Trossard score the winning goal against Fulham. Every Arsenal fan was ecstatic about it, but he had a really poor game by his usual standards, and that's usually the case when he starts games. He's much more impactful coming off the bench. Martinelli, he started this game against Atletico, but a lot of his best form this season coming off the bench, coming up against tired legs and sort of creating chances, scoring goals at key moments to kill off games and to win games for us. And I don't expect Arteta to change that winning formula against Crystal Palace, but I just think that for us, Eze is probably, especially with the way that Calafiori has been playing, Eze picking up those pockets of space from the left hand side, I think for me is something that I don't think we'll see until Odegaard's back, because that just seems to be the direction now that Arteta's going in. But I do think that will be more beneficial for us long term if maybe we saw the likes of Ranieri come in from time to time in that 10 position.
Yeah, I agree that it doesn't look as comfortable as Martin Odegaard does. Look, Martin Odegaard's been in that position for years. I will say in this game, he had a better game. In the first half, he had a very good game. I thought he had a very good game, actually. I thought he was being threatening. That chance he had, which deflected up and hit the crossbar, I thought was very good. He looked a lot better. He faded into the second half, which is actually something I've noticed with him in a lot of our games. He fades in the second half. He starts very brightly and then fades off.
Well, I don't think he's used to having as much as the ball with us, and it's different. Like I guess although with Crystal Palace he was maybe moving more due to defending, it was like he could save it more for sprinting, I suppose, because he's trying to get forward on the counter. With us, it's a little bit different. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's getting a bit more tired, because the sustained pressure and the amount of touches he's on the ball. I wouldn't be surprised if it's sort of
He's got to think a lot more as well, hasn't he? He's got a
yeah.
remember what Declan Rice said when he joined Arsenal? He said, Arteta's moving me in ways I've never actually thought about. I bet you it's the same with Eze. He's probably being pulled in different ways that he's never, ever thought about as a player, isn't it?
Yeah, and I imagine that with us, every touch is probably more important because you're going up against such deep defenses. Every single time you're on the pitch mentally, you've got that idea that, look, we kind of have to win this because Liverpool, Manchester City, you want to keep on top of the league. We have to kind of win every game that we can if we're going to win this league. We've seen that sort of 85, 90 points is going to be what it takes to win the league. So mentally, for a player that's not used to, not necessarily the pressure, because obviously at Crystal Palace there's going to be different pressures, and he's been a professional for England, so he knows all about pressure, but it's a different kind of pressure coming to a team that has to win every weekend or the majority of games, and there's a different kind of pressure when you've got more of the ball and you're doing more of it. But I think he's taking more time to adapt to the Champions League. Obviously, he's never played it before. I won't say poorer games, because he definitely wasn't poor against Atletico Madrid, but some of his dips in performance tend to come more in the Champions League. He seems a little bit like deer caught in headlights, a little bit, and that's no surprise. It's the Champions League. We as fans hear that music and we get tingles. Like imagine being a player and doing that. And I don't expect that to continue for very long.
No, he's too good, isn't he? He will find the level because like Jack Grealish, Jack Grealish when he started off at Man City, I thought took a little while, but then obviously became a focal point. Obviously, he dipped off, but I think Eze's just too good a player not to find the level and not to adapt quickly. He will adapt. He might be a different player from what he was at Crystal Palace. That's inevitable when you're playing. Look, even Declan Rice is now a completely different player to what he was at West Ham. He's not a 6. He's now an 8, and I expect Eze
Mm.
as well. Would you agree, Wayne, that you think that look, Eze was a fantastic player for Palace, but you can tell that Arteta will use him differently, won't he? He won't be necessarily that focal point because we've got so many focal points within the team. Martin Odegaard's a focal point. When they play together, I doubt they'll be, he will be the focal point, but he'll be a different player, still delivering, but a different player, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. And I think that it's going to be some time to adapt for Eze as well, simply because he's already played. He's only been with us for not even 10 games yet. He's not played 10 games for us yet. And he's already played in 3 different positions. He's played on the left wing. He's played in this right 8 or as our number 10, whatever you want to call it. And he played as the left 8 with Odegaard in that game against West Ham.
Yeah.
And I know it wasn't for very long due to the injury, but he's been sort of pushed all over the place, and he's a good enough player to play that. I have absolutely no doubt. I think Eze is one of the best players in the league, to be honest with you. I genuinely do. But I think that his style of play, like if you think back to the game against Newcastle, he was a lot closer to Gyökeres. He was playing more as like a second striker, a number 10,
Yeah.
whereas in this Atletico game, there wasn't as necessarily much space to do so, or he had to kind of come a bit deeper. But his most threatening moment was kind of running off the ball, getting that shot off and hitting the bar. So I'm really looking forward to him this weekend against Crystal Palace because he knows them very well. I'm sure he'll know where to damage them. And I just love the fact that he's here. I love the options that he offers. I love him as a player, and he's genuinely someone that I think we've needed for the past sort of 2-3 seasons.
Yeah, because if you look at it, if Martin Odegaard was out, that was it. We
Yeah.
didn't have anything. This year, look, he's not been the same level as Odegaard. I don't expect it when you've got someone who's been an incumbent for years and someone who's coming brand new. But he hasn't been that dramatic a drop-off that you're going, well, that's it, Odegaard's out. We're completely detrimented. We are still, as you said at the outset, we're a very good team. We're on this run, and he's contributing to it. I think anyone who criticizes him doesn't know what he's still providing the chances to create for Arsenal. It's just going to take him time to truly deliver those kind of match-winning performances that he did for Crystal Palace.
Mm.
Inevitably, as you just said, Wayne, it's not the same game. You're talking about the next level of cerebral, physical, mental, everything. It's for him to step up. He will, because he's so good at what he does, but it's a completely different ballgame. So we go then to the front line, Bukayo Saka, Victor Gyökeres, inevitably, and then Gabriel Martinelli coming in for Leandro Trossard. I think Martinelli actually had a really good game in this one. And obviously he scored the goal, but I think throughout the game, him and Saka and Gyökeres actually, I thought, had a really good game, all 3 of them, in constantly making problems for the Atletico defence. Because that defence, look, it has changed, as you said, Wayne. It's still got Marcos Llorente, a very good defender. Jose Jimenez, one of the best defenders in this generation. You've then got Hanko, who I don't know too much about, but those two Jimenez and Llorente are very good defenders, and it's a Simeone team.
And Oblak, one of the best goalkeepers
Oh
in the
my
world.
God, Oblak had actually still a very good game. It could have been worse considering how many times we got through. But Bukayo Saka doing what Bukayo Saka does and just threatening Hanko every time he got the ball. It got so bad they had to bring they had to bring 2 left backs on to actually try and stop him, and it didn't really. He was just Bukayo Saka is getting back to his best, isn't he? It's slowly coming. He's not there yet. Look, there was a period before he got injured last season. He was almost untouchable. He's getting back to it slowly because the Fulham game, he was the main man. But this game as well, he was just showing another level he was just taking on the defender, beating him consistently and delivering every time, wasn't he, Wayne?
He's getting to that stage where you mentioned the Fulham game. He's man of the match without scoring and without assisting. And a lot of that has to come, and it's so simple and so basic to say, but a lot of that credit has to come from Gyökeres. And I know that you're a big money striker. Everyone wants your number 9, or in our case, number 14, to score the goals. He's come with the reputation. He's come with the the golden ball or whatever it is that you win at the Ballon d'Or for scoring the most goals. You want him to come to the Arsenal and score 50 goals in a year. That's what you want, regardless of whether it's him or any striker. But the fact that he's there, and I don't know if you've seen some of the still images that some of the tactical accounts are showing on social media, the amount of space that our left winger and right winger get now. This is space that I don't think Saka has seen since he was playing
He must be
as
like,
a 17-year-old.
do you remember he must have been like last season? I was triple teamed. Hold on, it's a one
Yeah,
on one. I can have this now.
It feels like he's been triple teamed since birth.
I
Like
know.
that's the amount of time that he spent with us being double teamed and triple teamed because of how good he is. But now having that central vocal point who defenders have to focus on, and just him being there, that mere sort of presence and running in behind ability and threat, is allowing Saka to go 1v1. And when you go 1v1 against Saka, look, I know that a lot of, again, rival fans seem to care that he doesn't dribble like Neymar or dribble like Hazard. Saka is so effective at everything that he does, and he just kind of just kicks it past you,
He's
and you
not
can't do
flashy. He doesn't
anything.
need to be flashy. He's
No, but he just
effective.
beats you. It's so brilliant to watch. It's so sensational, and he's getting to that phase, like you said, that he was at the beginning of last season, where he had like 15 goals and assists in 16 games or whatever it was. But now he's doing it without the goals and assists. He's impacting everything because he's being left 1v1, and because he's being allowed to cut in, go on the outside and create chances. And I just love seeing him play. And again, he's another one who, especially when Madueke's back, I look forward to Saka not playing, because I look forward to him not having to play 80, 90 minutes every single week. And listen, if I had my way, Saka would play every minute of every game. But I know we need to manage him, especially after coming off of last season. So yeah, he's just getting back to that stage. And it's the same for whoever plays on that left-hand side. Martinelli was much like Lewis Skelly, that I was a bit surprised that he started, not because of his quality or not because of his performances, because I actually think his performances off the bench have warranted starts. But I just didn't think that this would be the game that Arteta would do a bit of rotation in. But game plan wise and opposition wise, it made sense, because he was offering that sort of directness and that threat to kind of stretch Madrid, and it worked. And it was a bit disappointing to not see him score in the first half. Like, I know he's got a little bit of criticism from that offside goal, probably going a little bit too early. I don't subscribe to that at all. I think that if he didn't go that early, he probably doesn't even get there, because it would have been on the stretch. But yeah, he was a threat throughout, and he's been a threat for most of the season. He's already got 4 goals, I think, in 10 games, and last year he only ended up with 9 or 10 all season. So he's well on course to bettering what he done last season, which is brilliant.
But Wayne, again, to your point, Victor Gyökeres is affording that space to the Martinelli, to the Saka, and now let's cover Victor Gyökeres. He's working so hard. We're going to talk about his goals in a second, but his work rate is unreal. He was closing down. You know, Martin Odegaard does the press. He leads the press. But Victor Gyökeres is not far behind him in terms of the monster pressing that he does. He's literally everywhere. And in this game, actually, I'm going to call out his defensive duties, because at the corners, he was the first one defending a lot of the corners. He was doing so much defensive work as well. Not in terms of he was getting back and defending on their attack. He was doing it at the corners, because again, he was still working hard from the front. And I loved his performance today in that game. I just thought, he's not an Erling Haaland, and I think we've all had this image. Look, he scored 59 goals in the Portuguese league, and it's obviously a league below. But he is a quality player. He's not going to be flashy. He's not going to have an exquisite touch, but the work rate he gets through is undeniable. He is, as you said, he's occupying defenders on his own, 2 defenders per game, and I'm not talking about 2 mediocre defenders. In every game, Newcastle, Man United, Man City, every game, he has occupied both defenders. It has never been one defender against Victor Gyökeres. It has been both of them in on him, and he's literally still producing moments from that, flick-ons, touches to get us up the field. I think he's highly underrated. I know, look, he came with the the moniker. He's going to be the number 9, solve everything. But I think he's given more than what I expected, actually, Wayne, in terms of what he actually does. I want to see him score more goals, and we'll get to his goals in a second. But I love what he's doing, and I think other fans are just getting annoyed because obviously we're talking about him in a different sense rather than, oh, he scored another goal and he scored another goal. How did you view? We'll talk about his goals in a second, but how did you view Victor Gyökeres's overall performance in this game, Wayne?
It was really, really good. His all-round game was a lot better, and it has been a lot better since him joining than I thought it was going to be. I was very much one of those. He's going to come in. He's going to score goals. He's going to score the goals against. I don't even care if he doesn't score against Manchester City, Man United, Liverpool. Obviously, I want him to score in every game, but it's the games against the Crystal Palaces, the Evertons, the West Ham, stuff like that. Those are the games that we've stepped up in the past, and those are the games where I thought he was going to come in and bang in the goals and make the difference in a title campaign. He's not done that so far in the league, but hopefully after this game, he will have that confidence to kick on and go on a stretch of bagging goals for us. But I think his all-round play has surprised me because I didn't think he would. I didn't think he would be able to press like this so soon. I didn't think he would be able to do that one-touch play and link up so soon. And it's something that Kai Havertz has done so well, but I expect it from him because he's that kind of silky footballer. He's that kind of one-touch player. He's used to the Premier League. Gyökeres came with hardly any preseason from a league that is nowhere near as intense as this, and he's settled into it really quite well. And in a situation where the reality is we've not been afforded any opportunity to let him rest. Jesus is injured, Kai Havertz is injured. We have no real striker on the bench, so he's having to play 90 minutes every
He
single
looks
match.
shattered every
He
time he comes
does,
off.
he does, and I don't think that that's helping with some of the optics because, like you said, he looks like a mess. Like he looks like he's just done a 10K in the gym running like at full sort of full pelt. But it's not stopping him from doing that defensive work rate. It's not stopping him from pressing. And I still don't think his press is as coordinated as we would like and as sort of structured as we would like. I think he kind of runs off a little bit from the press, like a bit of a headless chicken at times. And that will come with repetition, that will come with training, and it will come with more game time with our players. But I think he will start looking better now that he's got the goals, firstly. But I think he will look even better when Kai Havertz or whoever our striker is comes back and can take some of that load off him.
Yeah, I agree. So let's get into the goals. The first goal, set piece FC, ole ole.
Our first goal or Gyökeres' first goal?
Our first goal. So we're going to talk about the goals now.
Yeah.
Our first goal.
Yes.
Set piece FC in full effect. What
Yes,
a
very much
delivery
so.
from Declan Rice, I have to say. Do you know what? Everyone, when he joined, and we said this again, we thought that's it. He's our defensive. He's our number 6. That's it. We're all done. Job done. We've got the 6 that we wanted. He's become so much more than that. And these dead ball situations, his set pieces have just added to this complete player, I think, in terms of in a midfielder. He's a midfielder now. He's not a 6. He's not necessarily an 8. He's a midfielder who can do everything. Get
Yeah.
forward, defend well. But his set piece delivery is nigh on guaranteed, isn't it? Pretty much every time?
It feels like it at the minute. And I can't believe that he had this in him this whole time. Because do you remember when he first joined? He was in the box. Do you remember the goal he scored against Manchester United, like the
Exactly.
last minute winner from the corner? And what changed it was the game against Liverpool
Yeah.
at Anfield, I think, that season where he was in the box and we took a corner and it didn't beat the first man and then Salah ran down the other end.
Yeah.
And thankfully he missed that chance. But Declan Rice was the first one to sprint back. And that was the sort of catalyst for change from our set pieces because he went from being a threat inside the box to taking them so that he could kind of be in a better position to run back if he needs to. But his delivery and the quality of it, I don't know where it's come from because I know that he took sort of set pieces for West Ham and mostly because he was just their best player. Like sometimes you just have those teams where your best player takes penalties, they take goal kicks, they take corners, they take free kicks, and he was just that guy. But the quality that he's developing with us is just monumental. And to drop it in with that whip right onto Gabriel's head. I know that everyone, and rightly so, is praising Gabriel for being the most threatening centre back in world football right now from set pieces. Like he is Sergio Ramos right now.
Yeah.
He might not necessarily have the career that Ramos had because that's a legendary footballer, but somebody that is inevitable when he gets into the box. There needs to be six guys on him to stop him, and
Even then,
they
it doesn't
probably
stop it.
still.
Even
Even
then,
then, it doesn't even stop him. Even then, it doesn't stop him. But the ball was so perfect that I can't even say. I know that some of the fans are saying, "Oh, that's bad defending or bad marking."
no, no, no.
It's just a perfect cross. It's a perfect ball in, and it was just a brilliant, brilliant header from Gabriel to keep it down and get it on target and score to break the deadlock.
Yeah, again, look, we keep talking about other teams keep talking, and other coaches, we all know which coach in particular, are talking about set pieces and being a problem. Look, obviously, Arnie Slot, if we have to give you our game plans, we will happily do so for the league.
We did. That's how they scored in midweek.
Exactly. That's the thing. He talks about it, but then he did it in the midweek. So, Arnie, if you want to talk to Arteta, give him some credit. Give him a phone. But again, set pieces. I'm loving it. I'm for years, Wayne, and we know this as Arsenal fans. For years, we had nothing at set pieces. We
Yeah.
were shambolic. We had so many corners, and we could do nothing. Our corner count was like 17 attempts on goal from them, 0.
Mm.
Now it is literally, oh, we've just conceded a corner. This is it. We're screwed, aren't we? Every time is like it's a very threatening moment, and that there's nothing wrong in that. Again, it's a weapon to expose, and now teams are exposing it. The long throws, the corners are now all being exposed because Arteta and Nikola Jova have developed this to a point where it's almost an art form, isn't it, in terms of how they organize and how they keep bypassing all these defensive changes that people make. It's an art form, and I love it. I love that when we get a set piece or a corner, it's
They're
now not
terrified.
it's
Everyone's terrified.
they're terrified, and they can't do anything about it because Bukayo Saka gets a knock on and usually knocks out. Martinelli the same, Trossard the same. It is inevitable that there will be corners in the game, and it's very few teams have actually managed to stop us. And in fact, Newcastle, who were renowned for years as being the team that could defend against us, didn't do
They
this.
couldn't. And some of the best things are coming out of this, like the fact that our defenders have scored more goals from set pieces this season than they've conceded all season. Gabriel's got 2, Timber's got 2, and Calafiori's got 1 just from set pieces. But more importantly, the the big thing for me and the big thing, especially again for rival fans, but for Arsenal fans over the last couple of years is, oh, is this sustainable? Our set pieces have been sustainable now for 3 seasons. And what I don't get about the conversation about our set pieces being sustainable is what is sustainable about our corners? Declan Rice and Bukayo Saka can cross a ball and Gabriel can jump really high. I don't think that any of those things are unsustainable. And even if they say, well, we'll double team and triple team Gabriel, that's perfectly fine. Hold him, hug him, stop him from running if you want to. We've got threats like Saliba who have been dangerous from corners. Calafiori, when he plays, is dangerous from corners. Like you mentioned, the likes of Trossard hanging around at the back post for them flick-ons, for the knockdowns to pick up goals in and around the box if one of our defenders doesn't get it. Yurian Timber has scored 2 goals from set pieces this season.
Martin Zubimendi.
Zubimendi's got a goal from outside the box, probably our goal of the season so far. And he's just picking up positions outside the box, waiting for the first clearance. So the reality is, yes, they're completely sustainable because they have been for 3 years, and we don't take the same corner every single time. The 2 goal or the same set piece every single time. The 2 goals that we scored in this game against Atletico, the first and Gyökeres second, it's a near post run or a whip ball into the middle towards the near post from Declan Rice and a header from Gabriel. The second one, it goes to the back post,
and it's a
and then
knockdown.
it's a header back. It's a header, onto Gyökeres. So we do it completely differently, and of course it's sustainable because it's been sustainable so far.
Yeah, and it varies, doesn't it? Nikola Jova's not stupid. He doesn't keep to one formula. It's different
Exactly.
as people adjust. But
even the Newcastle goal, it comes from a short corner, or it comes back out, and we kind of work it that way. So yeah, there's so many ways that we've been scoring goals from set pieces this year.
The second goal, we talked about Miles Lewis-Skelly. What a run from this boy! Look, we knew he's got it. He's done it before.
Yeah.
But you're going up against Atletico Madrid. In the midfield, you've got Koke, you've got Barrios, you've got Nicola Gonzalez. You've got powerhouses in that midfield. This is not a shambolic midfield that a 19-year-old should run through. But the way he did it, he just shoved people off and just powered through, almost like a Yaya Toure. Do you remember Yaya Toure in his heyday, where he just
Yeah.
literally the people they fell away almost like the Red Sea, and it felt like that. It was a phenomenal run and a phenomenal through ball to Martinelli, who, again, if you put him in the position to be near the goal, his shot selection and his ability to finish is really good, and that's what he is. He's not a touchline winger. He is an inside forward who will get you goals if you put him near the goal, isn't it, Wayne? So, talk to us about the run from Lewis Skelly and then the finish from Martinelli, because it was just a beautiful thing, wasn't it?
Everything about it was just a lovely goal, and it's just everything that you've kind of grown used to seeing from Miles Lewis-Skelly in the past sort of 12 months. And I still can't believe he's only been in and around this first team so far for 12 months, because he's still such a baby in first team terms, but he plays like such a man, like a grown man. And I know that a lot of Arsenal fans are obsessed with this idea of him becoming and being a long-term midfielder. This is the reason why, because he picks up the ball from deep areas, he dribbles with it, he just holds off 3, 4 players and then can play a pass. He done it against Manchester City last season at home. He was able to kind of jink through, and that's how he got his goal in the end. And he just holds off players in a way that, like you mentioned, the Yaya Toure, he's been compared to Moussa Dembele, who used to play for Spurs back in the day. And well, I think back in the day, it was what, like 10 years ago now. So this wasn't that long ago. But he just has an upper body strength and an ability to evade pressure in such a key way that it's just brilliant to watch. And then, yeah, like you said, put Martinelli in front of goal. I still think he's one of our better finishers at the club. I think the big thing, really, and the key thing for Martinelli this season, he's now got a little bit more confidence, and I also think that he's playing with a little bit less responsibility. Not that I think that he's not got responsibility in the squad, but I think last season a lot of pressure was coming through him, mainly because there was no Saka, there was no striker. He had to kind of be the main guy to be our source of goals, and he wasn't able to produce it. But right now he's playing a little bit more free because he's got that space from Yoko, because Saka's back, and he's now a bit like Robin as opposed to Batman. But right now, because of that space, because of that confidence, he took that chance against Atletico Madrid. Whereas you remember at times last season, he was in that position. I think against PSG, he had the similar opportunity to
Yeah.
get it around Donnarumma. And I know Trossard had a similar sort of shooting opportunity as well. And Martinelli didn't take it, but Martinelli this season does. So I'm just glad that we've kind of got him looking somewhat like his best.
Yeah, it was a beautiful goal to watch. Then the next goal came from a bit of a scramble in the
This isn't
box.
a goal. I'm sorry. This is not a goal. It counts on the scorecard, but this is a tackle.
It's a tackle, but I will take dirty Gyökeres goals all day. This is the kind of
Same.
goals that I do not care if he gets, because this is what I want. I don't care how my striker gets the goals. I don't need beautiful goals. I need goals. That's what I need. I've been so stricken of a striker actually scoring goals. Look, it came off a deflection and it was like a scuff shot, but he scored, and I don't care. And he claimed it, and I don't care how it happened. It was a mad scramble. It was hectic in the box, but in the end of it, my striker got on the end of it and deflected it in. Job done, mask on, and that's what I want to see, isn't it?
He didn't want to put it on though. Saliba forced him. Like Saliba bullied
Hey,
him into putting it on.
he should do. And look, he's gone through a bit of a barren run, and we all acknowledge that. He's played very well. But you could see the team, like Kai Havertz against Bournemouth, and when he had that low period, the team was so pleased for him, and it just showed the togetherness of the squad, because they were just like, look, go and do it, go and enjoy the goal. It doesn't matter how you get, because they know he doesn't care. Actually, he just wants goals.
Yeah.
So again,
He needed it.
he definitely
He
needed it.
absolutely needed it. You can see that he was trying a bit too hard to score at times.
Yeah,
And I'm not calling that a negative. I want my striker to go and score goals. I want him to have that hunger. I want him to have that determination. But he was trying a little bit too hard to try and get goals at that. But I think that the fact that he had gone, I think it was 10 games, all competitions with sort of club and country without scoring, for someone that has been as prolific as he's been for the past 2 seasons, of course that's going to be playing on his mind. But he just needed it to go in any which way, shape, or
Yeah,
form. And I'm
exactly.
glad that it did. And I'm hoping that this can now kickstart not his Arsenal career, because I think his Arsenal career has started quite well. Obviously, he hasn't got necessarily the amount of goals that we would have liked, um, or that we as fans would want to see. But he's settled in quite well, and he's still been playing very, very well for us. But at the end of the day, goals are the biggest currency when you're a striker, and especially on big money, and especially with our number 14 shirt, which comes with a lot of pressure. So, yeah, I'm so glad that he got it the way that he did, and that was the stereo sort of typical commentators cliche, wasn't it? That you just have to get one coming off your backside, or you just have to get one that you don't know, and it just hits you and it goes in, and that's basically what happened. It was the worst goal ever, but for him, it was the best probably. And now I hope that he can go on a bit of a run.
Well, then he got his second through a little bit more of a striker's goal in terms of using every body part that you can to score a goal. It was a set piece delivered to Gabriel at the back post, flick on, and then Victor Gyökeres, as a striker should do, being at that back post ready and chested it in effect. Well, not tummied it in almost.
Yeah,
It was his tummy, but he pulled it. He's got the ab muscles. That boy's got some serious ab muscles because he literally stuck it out. And I could do that after a few kebabs, but it takes a lot of work for me to do that. But he could do that with he's got abs, so he could do it with something different from me. It takes a couple of them for me to get into that mode, but again, it's a striker's goal, isn't it? You want him to be there getting that kind of goal. Because last year, look, with all due respect to Havertz is a phenomenal player. But he doesn't sniff. He hasn't got that sniff of I need to alter my body shape to just get the goal however I want it. I don't care how it goes in. If it's off
mm,
my arse or if it's if it's on my tummy, whatever it is, he scores it however it needs to get done, doesn't it?
yeah. And I loved this goal because, like you said, it is the prototypical number 9 goal. It comes back across. I don't necessarily think that this was a training ground routine. I think that he's anticipated the header back really, really well. He's got into position to finish it really well. And like you said, he's used strength to shield it from the defender, and he's just got it in any which way. I think he's read it fantastically. And I really liked this goal. Again, it doesn't stand out as much as, say, for example, the Leeds goal that he scored, but this was what you want from your number 9, and he will get, especially with our set pieces, 5 goals a season at
Exactly.
least, just doing that from our corners and taking on those knockdowns. So yeah, the second goal I give him absolute credit for. The first one was just a brilliant tackle.
But as well, the celebration was epic, wasn't it? Because it had Victor Gyökeres doing the mask, and then obviously, as we were well aware, was it last year when Sporting played Arsenal? Gabriel scored and did the what everyone thought was the anti-Victor Gyökeres celebration, which was
Yeah,
where he put his hand over his face. And so Gabriel in this one, running with him because obviously he had provided the header, did his version. Victor Gyökeres. It was a great photo op moment, wasn't it, Wade?
it was. But then you had Martinelli doing
Oh,
like his baby version in the
oh,
background.
what was that? Come on, Martinelli, read the room. Just let it
He
happen. Just
didn't get the memo.
let them do their thing. It was like almost like Batman and Bane came together,
Yeah.
didn't they? Effectively, to
Yeah, you just had Martinelli tagging along like I'm in the joke. I'm inside the joke as well.
definitely Robin, as you said, he's definitely the Robin in
Yeah,
this one.
but no, it was really good. It was a good photo opportunity, and it's good to see that they can both kind of, I guess, laugh that off a little bit, because people were kind of making a bigger deal of it
Yeah,
last season than it was. But Gabriel's just that kind of defender. I think he
it
he,
was.
he likes the he likes that battle. He likes that back and forth against the top strikers.
Yeah, and it was great to see. But Wayne, 4-0, three games, 3 wins in the Champions League, 9 points.
No goals conceded.
No goals conceded. We are in the top half, which is very crucial. Obviously, obviously the top 8 go through straight away to the round of 16. But obviously, the higher you are, the more chances you get of playing at home in the second leg, which obviously we didn't experience last year. Really good start from us, considering that we've now come against one of the big boys. Got through that. We've now got Sparta Prague next, but then we come up against Bayern Munich, who are one of the informed teams as well. I think against Sparta Prague, Wayne, we would be looking at a win as well, even though it's away. But I think a bit more rotation. Look, given Sparta Prague, not being disrespectful, but if you look at the levels, it's a complete different level. You'd expect rotation at Sparta Prague, wouldn't you, in the next game?
I'm not sure. Knowing Arteta, I don't know. I think it depends when it comes in comparison to some of the other league games. I think we've got a somewhat favourable fixture, but I'm not thinking about Sparta Prague right now. The next game is Crystal
Good
Palace.
Palace.
That's the main one, and I think as Arsenal fans, we've made the mistake of thinking too far ahead in the past. This year, I think we can all agree it's the year for us to win something, anything. I know fans have different opinions on what we should win, what we need to win. For me, it's absolutely anything, but we need to do it game by game because right now we're in a fantastic moment of form. I don't expect to
Yeah.
go unbeaten till the end of the season. We're going to have ups and downs still, probably a lot more ups than downs, but there'll be a topsy-turvy part of the season where we're not playing at our best. But I'm not thinking about rotation at the moment because by the time Sparta Prague comes, we might have 7 injuries suddenly, or we might have a full 25-man squad to pick from. We just don't know. So yeah, I'm just thinking, and I'm sure Arteta is very much the same. Thinking about Crystal Palace, just focusing on the next game and taking it game by game right now, not getting carried away. The biggest takeaway for me is that we've won all 3 of our games so far in the Champions League. We've not conceded a goal, and somehow we're still not in the top 2. It's mental. I think we're fourth because Bayern Munich, PSG, and Inter are above us. I
I think
think.
it's because obviously goals scored, isn't it? You're talking about the teams they went against. Bayern Munich obviously played. Who did they play this week? They played Club Bruges. All with due
Mm,
respect to Club Bruges, 4-0 against Club Bruges is not the same as 4-0 against Atletico Madrid. When
yeah.
you're talking about it, you're talking about one of the big powerhouses. Um, but Wayne, just let's touch upon this. We've got obviously our other British clubs played. Newcastle beat Benfica 3-0, quite convincing. I think
With Jose
Newcastle.
Mourinho flirting with Newcastle before the game.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be taking him on after this result because again, I think Jose Mourinho. Look, I'll give my frank opinion. I think Jose Mourinho's career is coming towards the end of what I don't think he's delivering in the same way that he used to in the guaranteed
No,
way.
I think he's got a Portugal job in him. That's about it left. I think Portugal main manager. That's what he's got left.
Probably that's the last one he'll do before he retires, isn't it?
Yeah,
But a very good result for Newcastle. I think they will get through. It's just that how far can they go in the format? I still don't think they're a Champions League team to me. Does it? I mean, what's your opinion on Newcastle in terms of their viability in the Champions League?
I don't think they're a threat to win it, but I do think they'll get through, and I think they could cause an upset depending on what the draw in the situation is. I think there's a lot of teams that wouldn't want to face Newcastle because I think midfield is the most important part of football, in my opinion, and I think that they've got one of the better midfields in Europe, and I think that with a striker in Walter who has impressed me a hell of a lot, I think they're dangerous. But no, they'll do better than I think some will think. But when it depends on who they get, because you saw we beat them by playing football. Barcelona beat them by playing football. When you try to go toe to toe with them, Newcastle stand a chance. But if they come up against one of those European teams that like to keep the ball on the ground and are a little bit more technical, I think they'll struggle.
Haven't they got PSG short? Have they got PSG short?
They
Who've they
played
got?
them last time they were in the Champions League. I don't know about this time.
They've
Maybe
still got one more big one because obviously they played Barcelona. I think they've got one more big one. Um, Man City beat Villarreal 2-0. Obviously, the inevitable
no
Erling Haaland
surprise.
scored. It's a robot. He's a robot, isn't it? I don't know if they just give it to him and just say, here's the goal. Here's your open goal. Just get your goal and be done with it. It just feels like
24 goals, I think, this season so far. Club and
it's.
country, mental.
But I will also say that they are literally playing through him. That's their game.
Wouldn't you?
Oh yeah, of course you would.
Wouldn't
Look, it's
you?
again, again, Man City have had to change again, and Pep knows it. The only concern is obviously if he gets injured, how do they play? It will represent a big challenge. But for now, it's working a hell of a lot because I think he's gone to a different level actually this season. He was a clumsy striker before. It just feels like he's stepped up a level, hasn't he, this year in terms of his overall play and just being very clever in his movement.
But I think that's because they're playing through him. I think that the way that they've set up now and the speed in which they get him the ball and the space in which he has to get the ball, I think it's only suiting them. So yeah, I fear Manchester City and Pep more than I fear Liverpool at this moment in time.
Chelsea beat Ajax 5-1. Ajax went down to 10 men pretty early on. I mean, when you go down, Ajax have not been great for a number of years. I think they're really struggling in terms of competing with European teams. They'll always produce very good Dutch players, but I don't think they're the teams, of the 90s, etc. But when you go down to 10 men against Chelsea, Chelsea are very good at punishing you. Um, and I think this was just one of those days, wasn't it, for Chelsea? I don't think, again, I'm not sure where Chelsea stand in terms of will they win? Have they got a good chance of winning the Champions League? I'm not sure. Still don't know about Chelsea. I think they're inconsistent.
Yeah, they are, but I think they've got a better chance in Europe than they do in
Yeah.
the Prem because I think that they have a style of football and play at a speed that not a lot of. I think English teams in general are just a level above most of Europe, so I think they'll make like a quarter final or something, and maybe even a semi final. It wouldn't surprise me.
And the one team who did not score at all in this, from the British teams who did not score this week, is Tottenham.
They should have lost.
They should have lost. That Minamino had like 5 chances to score. Monaco should have absolutely destroyed them. It was embarrassing for Monaco. Come on, it
Yeah,
was.
it wasn't good.
Tottenham, I think, is showing their level. It's Conference League level, isn't it? Really, it's not. They're not
What
Champions
are
League,
they
are they?
doing in the champ? I don't know how they managed to wangle their way into the Champions League, but it is what it is.
I think they'll. Do you think they'll drop out of the at the first stage?
Nah, I think they're what it's 8 teams that get. I don't think they'll finish in the bottom 8. I'd love it to, but they've got a very easy run. I think they've got
Yeah,
some
they've got one of the
favourable
easiest runs,
fixtures.
haven't they? They've got one of the
Yeah.
easiest runs, haven't they?
But I think I don't think they'll finish top 8. So I could see them being knocked out in the next round.
I think Tottenham actually play PSG, don't they, next? Just checking that one. Hold on, let me just check. I think Tottenham have got PSG next. They have got PSG next, so that's kind of revenge for the Super Cup, isn't it? Coming shortly.
Revenge for the Super Cup. Come
Hey,
on.
you got to.
And Liverpool obviously got their big win as well they won 2-1 because set pieces don't count.
Of course they don't. I mean, again, set pieces don't count. But again, Eintracht Frankfurt weren't really competitive, were they, in this game? It was. I know Slot
It was
is.
just end to end, like it
It's
was
perfect for
like
Liverpool.
playing
It's
a video
perfect.
game.
It's perfect for Liverpool, wasn't it? It's open. Liverpool thrive on that, and that's what they wanted. Space open, and even Slot admitted to that. They played a game that we liked.
Yeah.
It's not what they're going to face in the Premier. Brentford this weekend. It's going to be very interesting because I don't think Brentford will play that way either. I think Brentford will be very tight as well. So,
Yeah.
is this the upturn that Slot is looking for? Maybe, maybe not.
We'll see. They're too good to continue losing. They're way too good. They've
They
got too
are,
much
but there are
quality.
some deficiencies there, aren't there? There's some.
Yeah.
I think right back certainly is a gettable area from them. But
Oh,
let's.
both fullbacks to be fair.
Yeah, that's true. So let's switch gears to the Premier League. Again, the games come thick and fast. We're not. It doesn't stop for us. Crystal Palace this weekend come to the Emirates. Crystal Palace in the Premier League in a decent run of form. They've had.
Yeah.
They are still a very tough team to beat. Very much a threat. But obviously, there have been a few concerns for Oliver Glasner, etc. Obviously, they have lost against Everton, the first loss of the season. But last night in the Europa Conference League, with a very strong squad, actually, Crystal Palace lost to AEK Larnaca from Cyprus. They come to the Emirates in decent form, as I said, but last year as well, they came and drew with us. They're still one of these teams, Wayne, as we all know, that are awkward, aren't they? This is one of those ones that, like last year, like West Ham, like Fulham, we need to erase effectively and show that this year, these teams are not going to be the ones that trip us up because last year they were. We need to continue to cement our place at the top of the Premier League, but also as well, we've clawed out a hell of a lot of points if you go for like fixtures. But this is definitely one that we need to just show something again, like Fulham, like West Ham, isn't it, Wayne?
Well, yeah. The stretch of the last 4 Premier League games last season, we only took 2 points from Newcastle, West Ham, Fulham, and Palace. And so far this season, we've taken 9. I'm really hopeful that we can make it 12 out of 12. Because Palace are no pushover. They're a very good side. They've done us a favour already by beating Liverpool. They went unbeaten, the furthest in the Premier League so far this season, and yeah, they've been a good side under Glasner now for a little while. And I think the difficulty for them in Europe is they're probably going into every game as the favourite, so they have to kind of push the tempo, they have to push the pace, they have to push chances. Whereas in the Premier League, it's probably a little bit easier for them, where they can play their normal game, sit back, counter, and excel in some of the areas that they do, because they're a really quick side, they're a physical side, they're powerful where it's important. But I like our chances. Last year, obviously, we drew with them, but we were kind of focusing at that point on Champions League football. We had barely any players out there to field. We're in a completely different situation now. We're playing with confidence. And at home, I really do like our chances, because I just think that we're much deeper now. And I think we've got a lot of ways that we can attack this Crystal Palace side.
Yeah, and talking about deep squads, obviously Mikel Arteta gave his press conference today as we record on a Friday night. Mikel, the big one coming out of this was that there's a possible concern over Gabriel, who came off late-ish in the game. I don't think it was very clear. I think there was some scaremongering earlier around, oh, Gabriel, that's it, he's out almost for the game. There was a worry about him, but then I think it was more clarified that he had to come off and he was feeling discomfort, but he might train tomorrow, which is perfectly fine. I mean, is it a big miss for this game? Jean-Philippe Mateta, obviously, you'd think would start up front for them because he's been in such good form, got a hat-trick in his last game, in that crazy game against Bournemouth where they should have won it at the last minute, but
Yeah.
3-3. But is Gabriel missing going to be a big concern for you? Because obviously you think it would be Mosquera. I don't think Hincapié has had enough game time to really justify playing, especially against a Jean-Philippe Mateta. So you'd assume Mosquera would be the stand-in, wouldn't you, Wayne?
Yeah, but and listen, Gabriel missing any game for any team in the world would be a concern, but I think Mosquera has proven more than enough that he's capable. And he looks like, I know Mateta is a very good striker. It's not to disrespect Mateta in the slightest. I think he's one of the better strikers in the Premier League. That kind of physicality looks like something that Mosquera will enjoy. That level of shoulder to shoulder, the big strikers probably seem like that kind of battle for Mosquera is something he's more up for. And I do think that if Gabriel is missing, Mosquera will come in. But listen, I think we've heard this from Arteta before. I think Gabriel will play. I think he'll be fine.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it'll just be a case of trying to be a bit coy with Oliver Glasner. He knows Glasner is going to be a very astute manager in setting up, etc. But obviously, we as you said, Wayne, we should be winning this one, not just because of the depth of the squad, not because just of the quality, but also as well, they've played on Thursday night. We've had 2 days extra rest. I know that doesn't mean as much, but they had to give their all eventually yesterday. They had to bring on all their players eventually. They started off with Wharton, Kamada, and Richards on the bench, but they had to bring Wharton and Kamada on eventually because
Yeah.
Larnaca, they tried to get the goal against Larnaca. So it should all add up to making it a little bit more of a positive outcome for Arsenal. Wouldn't you agree, Wayne?
I would hope so. But we've seen before that sometimes in those Sunday early kickoffs, it's a bit difficult for us to wake up potentially, because it's 2 p.m. Like it's not the
Yeah,
the 4:30 p.m. grand Super Sunday build up.
yeah,
We're the starter to the main course, so to speak. But no, I think we're more than professional enough to get the job done. And like I
yeah.
said, I think we're in a position where we can go full strength. Obviously, we've got the Carabao Cup game up next.
Mm.
And if you're thinking about rotation, we'll probably do a lot more rotation in that one. But for this one, I think everyone is in a position where Calafiori can come back in. He didn't play any minutes at all in the Champions League. Timber came off early, so it wouldn't surprise me to see him start. You've got Gyökeres, who came off a little bit early in the game. Trossard didn't play at all. Could probably come back in to start on that left hand side, and Eze came off early as well. Same with Zubimendi, who's actually suspended now for the next round
I
in
think
the
that.
league
Sorry to
phase.
touch on that. That was very clever. Well, he's
It
so
was.
clever. He's such a cerebral player, isn't he? Declan Rice needs to just learn a little bit of that, just to get that little foul in, get the yellow. Because Sparta Prague, obviously,
Well, to be fair, he tried.
he tried.
He just
He
didn't get
tried.
booked.
The referee wasn't
Um,
giving it, was he?
but yeah, I think that this one will go as full strength as possible.
I think so too, as well.
And I'm hoping it will be a relatively comfortable evening. But Crystal Palace do have a lot of assets to kind of threaten us
Oh yeah.
a bit. But our defensive record this year, I trust us to get the job done.
I think they're very defensively solid. They transition well. It's going to be a threat, obviously through Ismail Assar. You've got Mateta, obviously. You've got Wharton, who is a very creative player. So I think they've got weapons, but I think we've got certainly more as well that we can offer. Let's go through. So obviously we look forward to hopefully a good game against Palace. But we'll give our predictions now in the predictors game. So unfortunately, because Joe is out, he's given me his predictions beforehand. So how this is going to work, obviously, is I'm just going to cover off of last week. So Joe won last week. He beat me by 35 points to 20. He got 2 correct predictions, which is a bit of a shame. And he's leading the table. But I think I can come back this week. And Wayne, we're going to get you involved as well. So we'll record your one, and then obviously look at next, how we do next week. So let's have a look at the fixtures. So tomorrow, Chelsea versus Sunderland is the 3:00 first game. How are you viewing this one? So Joe, I'll give you Joe's prediction. Let me get my WhatsApp up because he sent it to me via WhatsApp.
Okay.
He has said, oh, sorry, I forgot. Obviously tonight's game, which is ongoing at the moment, and we made our
Oh, it's
predictions.
finished now.
It's
It
finished.
finished 2-1 to
2-1.
Leeds.
And I got that right. Come on, because I said it beforehand. So Joe said 2-0. I said 2-1, which is finished, and obviously you said 3-1, didn't you, Wayne? So
Yes, I did. Yeah.
so that's the 5 points to me. Delightful. Right. Chelsea versus Sunderland. What do you think, Wayne?
I've got this down as a 3-0 Chelsea win.
Ooh. Hold on, I'm just trying to make sure I get this right. So you're going with 3-0. Wow.
Yeah, I think that this is probably the first big match for Sunderland since going back into the Premier League.
Yeah.
I think that I think that Chelsea will be quite comfortable.
So Joe also predicted a 3-0 for this one as well. Chelsea, I like 3-0 because Chelsea do have the capacity to just blow away teams. But I don't want to give the same score as both of yous. I'm going to go with 3-1. I think Sunderland will score one. So I'm going to
Granit Xhaka will do you a favour.
Look, I don't have as much love for Granit Xhaka as FK. FK would probably think Granit Xhaka is the whole of Sunderland by the way he goes on about it. But hey-oh. The next 3:00 game is Newcastle versus Fulham at St James Park. Joe has predicted a 2-1 Newcastle.
Newcastle will win. I've got 2-1 as well.
Jeez. I like 2-1 as well. I'm gonna have to go with it as well because I think they've obviously played in the Champions League this week. Obviously, it was at home, but it's still another game. Fulham can be a dangerous team, but I don't think they've got enough here. So I'm going to join you in that one. The 5:30 kickoff, Manchester United, who are rejuvenated after that Liverpool win. Rejuvenated, they tell you.
In
We're
the
back!
best run of form.
It's only 3 more games before that dude can cut his hair, isn't it? That hair is mental at the moment. So let's talk about the haircut. Obviously, is it going to be 3 wins in a row to get him closer to that haircut that he so desperately needs, and that his cap needs, and that the head restrictions within the tube and the trades and everywhere else need? Wade.
No, I've got this as a 3-1 Brighton win.
Oh, it's all over. It's all over again. And you know what? Joe has predicted the same. This is...
Oh my God, we've gone the same for everyone. So
I know. This is crazy. Joe, if you're watching, can you stop calling Wade and giving him the results that you're predicting? You have gone 3-1 as well. Oh, I am going to go with a 2-1. I like my
to
score.
Brighton or to Man United?
To Brighton.
You don't. To Man United, the run is on. The run is over.
Oh, it's Man United. Come on, please. False dawns are literally their thing now, isn't it? It's like, we're back. And then it's the highs and then the lows. It's what I live for, Wayne. Come on, we're living for this. It's like we wanted them to beat Liverpool, and they beat it in the best way possible with the old fridge head getting the goal and thinking, I'm a great player again. I'm back. My England career is resurrected and all this kind of stuff. And then bring them down by just doing what you do normally, Man United, and being terrible. That's what we want. So yeah, I'm with you. I think they'll lose. Next one, Brentford Liverpool is the 8:00 Saturday night fixture away at the G Tech.
I've
Joe.
got 3-0 to Liverpool.
Ooh, 3-0. Joe has gone different for you for this one. So, Wayne, you have gone 3-0 to Liverpool. Joe has
Yes.
gone 2-1 to Liverpool.
Okay.
I think I'm going to go with a 2-0 Liverpool.
I think it will be quite easy for them, to be honest. I don't. I think Brentford are in a bit of a scrap this year for relegation.
Yeah, I think Keith Andrews, I think, is just a bit of fish out of water, isn't he, in terms of the depth of what Brentford need. You've had a long-term manager in Thomas Frank, who's now left. Inevitably, there's going to be some hangover from losing a manager of that quality. So, yeah, I don't see this one being a struggle for Liverpool. Then
Yeah.
we get to the Sunday games. We'll start off with the other ones before we get to Arsenal. So actually, we'll just do Arsenal. So Sunday. So Sunday. Arsenal versus Crystal Palace. Joe has gone for a 2-0 to the Arsenal. What have you gone
I've
for?
got 2-1 to Arsenal.
You think they'll score? Okay.
Yeah. I don't think we can keep a clean sheet forever.
Wait, have you
And
seen us?
I,
Have you seen us lately?
I kind of want to get rid of that 15 goal record, like because the more we don't, the
So what?
more
It's
we don't
over, and then
concede.
that's it. We're
Yeah,
done.
just get it out of the way. Just let us win the league. Otherwise, I'll get close to believing.
I am not going to join you on this one. I think we'll keep a clean sheet, and I'm going 2-0 as well. I think Saliba, Gabriel, Ricardo Calafiore fit is going to make it a beautiful thing. Right. Villa versus Manchester City. So Joe has gone 3-0 Villa. Obviously, we're looking at Erling Haaland probably getting all three goals. Yeah, sorry, 3-0 City. Okay. How many Erling Haaland goals are we talking here? Because he can't handle it not being his goal. I am going to. I'm going to join you on your one. I think it's going to be a 3-1 with Erling Haaland getting a hat trick. If he gets a hat trick, I'm going to force Joe to give me a bonus point because that I lost. He should have had a hat trick in the last game against Everton. He had like 7 chances to score and he fluffed all of them apart from 2. Erling, come on, my friend. You need to just up the game a bit here. Scoring 24 is not enough for me. I need more from you. It's not good enough. Bournemouth versus Forest, which is another 2 o'clock kickoff. Obviously, Forest getting their first win in Europe last night. Sean Dyche, the return of anti-woke football. What do you think is going to happen? So Joe has gone with a 2-2 here. Okay. Okay. So 2-1 to Bournemouth. I think this is yeah, I'm gonna go with you. I think Bournemouth still have too much quality. So Menu is an absolute hot form, red hot form. I think it's gonna be too much for Forest. Although I think Forest are gonna be much more solid in this game. I still think Semenyo is just at that level right now where he's just unplayable some weeks. Do you remember when Gareth Bale was at that peak of his powers where he, at Tottenham before he went to Real Madrid, where he was just unplayable most weeks? I think it's getting to that one with Semenyo. I would love, I would love Semenyo at Arsenal. I just think he's got it. It's a lot of money. So, Andrea, I know you can do some wheeling dealing if you're listening. Get the checkbook, get the interest-free payments, whatever you need to do. Just get it done for us. Wolves versus Burnley. Oh, geez. This is a yeah. Joe's got a what's Joe got? He's got a 2-0 to Wolves against Burnley. That's brave because I think Wolves are terrible. Oh, I'm going to join you again because I think it's just as bad as it. Actually, no. Do you know what? Burnley have been actually half decent. I think it's going to be a 2-1 to Burnley. Sorry, 1-2, sorry. It's away at the Molineux. And then the last game is Everton versus Spurs. Joe has gone for a 2-1 to Spurs. Oh, don't like that. Yeah, under lights at the new stadium. Yes. It's got the feel of it, hasn't it? They Everton are very good. I'm gonna join you in that. So you've gone 3-2. I'm gonna go actually with a 2-1 to Everton. Yeah. Everton at Everton at home are a very different prospect than on the road. I think they do really well. And I think against Spurs, who, although they're defensively solid, I thought against Monaco they looked vulnerable, and that was their full squad as well playing. It wasn't rotated. So again, I think Everton have got a very good chance. Um, that's it. We're going to lock those predictors into the supercomputer that's here. Obviously, we've got so many supercomputers. Um, but yeah, it looks like a good weekend for Barclays again. No 12:30 kickoff, which is unusual, which is a bit of a shame. I like. Yeah, I think so, but we'll see how these pan out. We'll tally them up next week, and I'll give you them, probably the late night latte, when we do. Yeah, good stuff. Are you going to Palace this weekend then, Wayne? Oh, well, good. Enjoy. I'm not going. I'm going up north tomorrow, so I'll be watching from my in-laws' place. Uh, I will try to. I get my father-in-law watches with me, and although he likes Arsenal, but he's a Leeds fan, so he's kind of like he's got one eye there. But it'll be a weekend. Do you know what? Whenever I go and watch it with my father-in-law, it's a full afternoon of watching football. I love it because he enjoys it as well. But yeah, we'll look forward to that. Wayne, thank you so much for stepping in. Joe, wherever you are, AWOL, forget this family business. It's you got to talk about the Arsenal first, family later, isn't it? That's what it is. Come on, Joe. Exactly. Come on, Joe. Think about it. But Joe, we miss you, and we look forward to seeing you on the next one. If you do like the content and you've enjoyed it, please do consider subscribing. Please do subscribe as well to Wayne's fabulous channel, the Can You Believe It podcast with our good friend Matt. Just released a new episode today, which, as I said, which I'm looking forward to just finishing off. If you haven't listened to it, it is a great listen. These guys are just riffing off each other, and it's just a very enjoyable watch. And then obviously Wayne, Indomitable as always. Watch it, the late night lattes on Friday night. Although I think this might be the return this weekend of the phone ins potentially, isn't it, on the late night latte? And he's in Saudi at the moment, so he's I hope so. Oh God. We'll be back on. I don't like Arsenal at all. Get this thing out. But yeah, if you please do consider subscribing to the Can You Believe It podcast and LatteFirm, all superb platforms to listen to Arsenal content, and also do please consider subscribing to our one on YouTube. Look at our TikTok, Spotify, Apple. We'll try and get this out. We'll try and get a post review, obviously, out on Monday. But for now, thank you very much, Wayne. Thank you very everyone for listening. We'll catch you in the next one of Red Lines Half Spaces. Bye for now.